In today's video, come with me to explore a beautiful house that holds secrets. It's been a place of sanctuary and safety. It's the wonderful Harvington Hall. Hello, welcome to Through Lucy's Lens weekly videos where I go somewhere interesting and hopefully you will find it interesting too. Today is a bit of a reader's request, subscriber's request. I posted my video about Baddesley Clinton and some of you in the comments said, have you ever been to Harvington Hall? It's also got priest holes, it's also got stories. And you know, I hadn't. And I researched it and it was again really close to my house. So today I'm visiting Harvington Hall for the first time. It has the second most priest holes out of all the houses in the United Kingdom and it's beautiful. I'm really excited to get started. So shall we go? Come with me. Let's go. Harvington Hall is a beautiful moated house in the heart of Worcestershire, England. It actually took my breath away when I drove up to it because I didn't realise how beautiful it was going to be. This Elizabethan manor house stands as a testament to the turbulent times of religious conflict and the enduring spirit of those who sought to protect their faith. The story of Harvington Hall can be traced as far back as the 13th century. Adam de Harvington lived here first and died here in March 1344. When he died, the estate passed into the hands of the Earls of Warwick, and in 1529 it was sold to Sir John Pakington. John Pakington was a lawyer and favoured by Henry VIII. Apparently he was so favoured, he was provided with a special grant from Henry VIII that allowed him to keep his hat on in the king's presence. John's great-nephew Humphrey Pakington inherited the estate in 1578, and he is responsible for building the house we see today. The house today, although it's still on a really grand scale, was actually double the size when it was built. Two of the house's original wings were demolished in the 1700s. After Humphrey Pakington died in 1631, Harvington was left as the dower estate to his wife Abigail. In 1657 she died, leaving the hall to her daughter Lady Mary Yate. Mary moved back into the family home and she died at Harvington in 1696 at the age of 85. 85 was a really good age for that time, and it meant that she outlived her son and her grandson. When Mary died, the hall was inherited by her granddaughter, another Mary. Mary was married to Sir Robert Throckmorton of Coton Court in Warwickshire. They didn't think they needed Harvington anymore, so it just kind of got neglected. They demolished the two wings and also took a lot of the furniture, fixtures and fittings, and they moved them to Coton Court. So you can actually go to Coton Court and still see pieces of Harvington that are there. By the 20th century, Harvington was in a bare and dilapidated state. But in 1923, a Catholic American called Mrs. Ellen Ryan Ferris purchased the hall because she believed it was of great significance and wanted to see it saved for future generations. She gifted it to the Archdiocese of Birmingham and they still own the hall today. Let's get back to the 16th century where I believe the most interesting part of Harvington's history lies. Humphrey Pakington, who built the house, was a wealthy Catholic recusant. A recusant is someone who refused to attend the services of the Church of England, a stance that often came with heavy fines and severe penalties. The fines initially cost 12 pence a week, but this increased to £20 a month. That was about £4,000 in today's money, which was a strain on even the wealthiest in society. The Pakingtons were a prominent family with deep Catholic roots, and Humphrey was determined to create a home that would reflect his status while also serving as a safe haven for Catholic priests. From 1585, it was illegal for a Catholic priest to step foot in England. But a Catholic Mass cannot be held without the physical presence of a priest. And that led to Humphrey creating spaces that not only provided accommodation for Catholic priests, but also places for them to hide should the priest hunters come knocking. There is no evidence that Harvington was ever raided by priest hunters, but nevertheless there are 7 priest hides here, more than any other house in the UK. And the house also has the second largest hide of all. This is a large space in the attic, which is no longer accessible to visitors. Several priests at a time lived, worshipped and hid here. I think one of the most intriguing aspects of visiting Harvington is to see these priest holes. A priest hole is a concealed space ingeniously designed to hide Catholic priests during a time when their presence in England could mean a painful and public death. Under Elizabeth I, nearly 150 priests were executed for their beliefs, and the same fate would fall upon anyone found harbouring them too. Humphrey Packington commissioned the creation of several priest holes throughout the hall. He probably employed the skills of Nicholas Owen, a master craftsman known for his ability to design these secret chambers. Nicholas Owen also created the priest hole that you can see in one of my previous videos at Baddesley Clinton. I think Owen's work was nothing short of extraordinary and brave. These priest holes were carefully crafted to be undetectable, with false walls, hidden entrances and narrow passages. The most famous of these spaces at Harvington is a tiny space beneath the staircase, where a priest could be hidden for days or even weeks. In early 1606, Nicholas Owen was arrested at Hindlip Hall in Worcestershire, not far from here. Nicholas Owen was taken to the Tower of London, where he was subjected to torture on the rack, which killed him due to a punctuated hernia. This was just from the sheer power and force of this disgusting torture practice. Nicholas Owen was made a saint by the Catholic Church in 1970, and I think it is really lovely that he is the patron saint of illusionists and escapologists, a perfect memorial. Life at Harvington Hall during Humphrey Packington's time would have been filled with both luxury and tension. The hall was not just a home, but a centre for the local Catholic community. Despite the risks, the Packingtons remained steadfast in their faith, using their wealth and influence to protect those who sought sanctuary within their walls. My favourite part of the house was right up on the top floor, where you can see a bedroom that was used as a place for Catholic worship. There's still the most incredible original frescoes on the wall, and you can really get a feel for what was happening here at the time. The room is set out for a Catholic Mass, and there is a fascinating part under the floorboards where if anybody was looking out through the window, because we're at the highest part of the house and you could see anybody coming, the Mass could be quickly packed away and hidden in a cubby hole under the floorboards. I just thought this was really evocative, and I kept imagining what it must have been like to be so frightened for your faith, to be living day in, day out, just carrying on for what you believe, but also being persecuted for it. You can also see the quarters where the priests lived, simply set up on the top corridor of the top floor. So again, they would have easy access to the priest holes up in the attic, and even one underneath a fireplace if they needed to. I thought it was quite interesting how several of the priest holes were hidden on top of an oven or in a fireplace, and it just made me wonder, did they keep the house cold without the fires lit? Because if somebody needed to rush into one of these priest holes, you would be pretty much baked alive. Food for thought. As subscribers know, we do love a toilet on Through Lucy's Lens, and there are 2 that you can see at Harvington Hall. two garderobes, this one here and also the one in Mary Yates' room that goes directly down into the moat. Outside of the main house you can find a Georgian chapel. A barn was converted into a place of Catholic worship in 1743. This is testament to the owners of Harvington to always provide a place of Catholic worship to anyone in the locality. The chapel was sadly destroyed by fire in 1823 and many of the original features were lost. It was then used as a schoolhouse for local children and in 1986 was reinstated and reopened for worship. It now contains a Georgian chamber organ, altar and rails. Into the altar is set the original cracked and fire-blackened altar stone from the original chapel. It's a practical rather than ornate space, but would be really easy to miss on your visit, so make sure you step in. I think Harvington is a real history lover's house. It's not glitzy, glamorous or commercial, but it offers history lovers a real chance to get up close and personal to a fascinating and often forgotten chapter in English history. I came away from the house, even as a person with no real religious affiliation, with a feeling of thanks. I'm a person who always sticks up for what I believe in, even if for me that's just kindness and compassion. But the house really resonated with me. I really hope you enjoyed this week's Explore, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's free and very much appreciated. To all my lovely subscribers, thank you for your support, and I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you in the next one.